Hello, I am Vasilios Kantas, a photography practitioner and educator since 2010, and I would like to thank the organizers of this symposium for accepting my paper for presentation here. I'm going to talk to you about oblique photography, a process model that I have designed. Oblique photography is a process to guide someone towards manifesting his concerns, current and refashioned ones, through producing his own photographic imagery, reflecting upon it and reshaping it. The steps to be followed use a variety of tools that could establish a connection with her authentic, timeless self. Each voyager, meaning the participants in the workshop, can pursue as many steps as they can possibly afford. Intensity and depth of the experience depends upon the voyager's response. The destination of this journey provides, in an image form, an indicative state of the ideal point from where they finally get to stand now. Oblique photography acknowledges as effective ones and overlaps in many points with the broadly used methods in the field of therapeutic photography. It highlights, though, the importance of conditions of entering an effective journey, able to unfold the flow of issues wishing to be dealt with, and clarifying the existing situation and reshaping its potential structure. Here is a handwritten diagram that I'm going to further explain upon the steps of this photographic practice. Participants are asked to be prepared somehow like following a ritual by giving them a symbolic ball of yarn, exactly as Ariadne the myth gave a ball of yarn to Theseus, which he unwound as he entered the labyrinth to confront the Minotaur, and after slaying the Minotaur, Theseus followed the thread back to the entrance of the labyrinth, rejoined Ariadne and successfully escaped Crete. So examples of this symbolic ball of yarn can be a bag with idio compass on, earphones playing aligned songs, own heartbeat, some nicknames that have been given in the past to the participants, a custom-made tap shoes, or anything could do, just to ensure that they will stay connected with this inner process, a connection that should stay alive, active throughout the process, and if dissolved, should be reactivated, for example through microphenomenology self-interview, or through socially oriented focusing. They have to produce a series of photographs. And when I say series of photographs, I mean different folds of a specific subject. And at the end, they have also to execute a farewell on their own initiative. It has to do with their own habitus, how do they stand in this world, and what they usually do to relate with others. Regarding the shooting attitude, the participants are asked to look for resonance around them. The shooting environment ideally should include unknown conditions and should have an inductive character. The photographer's state should depend on spontaneity, on care, on gratefulness, on bodily apprehension of what is surrounding them. It would help if they are in a mindfulness state. And of course, searching for resonance, they should keep safe, both in terms of their outer stimulus and their inner situation. The participants will eventually produce a series of photographs, ideally resonant to the subject that they're dealing with, and one of these photographs, through a process that we later on describe, will be able to better display in an accurate way their current position regarding the issue that they're photographing. This chosen photograph will be the subject of their reflection. Allow me here to say that in oblique photography, where there is no brief in order to create them, some of its author's issues, concerns, beliefs, worries, wishes, etc. in the image might have been included in the frame in a difficult to discern way and in a non-conscious way quite often. The level of obliquity might be high, where substantial issues might have been transcribed in some level of disguise in the image, or not that high. However, the oblique photography does not mainly search for accurate articulations of given outlines, as in the example of the vulture in the following slide, because most of the times the affinity might be of a qualitative similarity rather than of shape of a situation. The similarity of form is something that has already been suggested, for example, by Freud, when he noticed in a painting of Da Vinci that there was a hidden form of a vulture connecting to motherhood. However, this kind of reading images, a semiotic one trying to find signs and deciphering it, it's not the one that oblique photography follows. Oblique photography searches for resonant signs and a way to unfold them, not necessarily in order to grasp their essence, their meaning or their function, as it might endlessly reforms, but towards a fruitful rearrangement, repositioning, refashioning of one's way of existing in the world now. A final version of the resonant sign in a single photograph might be the final step of the ladder, and this is a task of the oblique photography. So after the series of photographs have been produced and one of them has been selected, it's a time for engaging with this chosen one, and the actions that the participants should take are the following. At the beginning, we have to nominate a protagonist, subject, object, situation. It's like replying to the question, through which part of the image does the image act? In order for one to be able to notice and decide who the protagonist is, a photographic frame composition analysis would help. Secondly, to clarify the role of this protagonist, it is like replying to the question, what happens to it? Again, empathy is what one should use to understand the role. Thirdly, look for other elements in the picture, let's call them agonists, of a secondary importance, and settle up with their missions, maybe through the IFS model, trying to reply the question which other parts need to be sorted out before dealing with the protagonist. And finally, when the space is quite clear, then it's a time for interventions upon the plot. So the participant that has produced an image that gradually becomes more transparent to him, it's an image that can be manipulated by producing new images. It's like replying to the question, how else this condition that I am now aware of could be. In the diagram that I have shown before, this is the phase over here where a transformation of the selected image should take place by experimenting with the way the elements in the frame have been arranged by giving new arrangements, let's say. This new image reproduction can take place either in a new series of photographs or in autonomous images based upon a reformed plot, hopefully to get to a more clear, more substantially conscious image where our encounter with the world has become clearer and now takes a shape. Here's a concrete example of a photograph on the right hand where this is a chosen one from a series of photographs produced to depict a family situation, the relationships that are taking place between its members. Of course, the creatures that we're looking at, which are children, stand for the other members of the family that the photographer has in his mind. And we're looking that in the next picture on the right, the relationship between the three creatures, the three protagonists, have changed. So the dynamics of their coexistence has gradually changed throughout this photographic practice, throughout the need of the photographer to find creatures that have a different resonance with his own issue. If I could use a metaphor to describe what oblique photography's target is, it would be to find a view from a next floor last step in an unnumbered floors tower. And heading upstairs or downstairs doesn't really matter. It is the move itself that seems more fruitful, more important. Thank you for your presence. I would happily discuss further what I have presented. I'm here for you.